Hello and welcome to Coffee and first Kabbala, then coffee. But you drink the coffee in order to learn the Kabbala. So you can put the coffee first. So in today's coffee and Kabbala, there's an educational problem in the world that people they start learning, they want the secret, newly religious or people with a spiritual awakening interest, they want to learn the Zohar and the Arizal and the deepest of the depth and the secret of the secret. Sadly, they don't know the Bible, they can't read verses in Hebrew, they don't know the classical commentary on the Bible. It's like writing modern odd performance pieces before knowing how to write a four-part chorale or I dare say a fugue, which is quite an achievement. But maybe knowing Bach and Beethoven, you understand, and then you understand where it comes from. I was taught this by Rabbi Chaim Bravender Shlita, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Web Yeshiva, and Bravender's Yeshiva, very, very world famous yeshiva, world famous rabbi. And my Rosh Yeshiva says, the interesting thing is when you learn Chassidut, like the Hasidic masters, the Baal Shem Tov and his students, there's a whole bunch of great tzaddikim, like Rabbi Nachman, and the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, and all of the Rebbes. And so when you learn their innovations, then you don't understand their innovations unless you know what came before, then you know why they are chidushim. For example, say Arizal, Rabbi Isaac Luria, the all-time great Kabbalist, the all-time top tens. If you deal with baseball cards, no, anyhow, seriously, it's not a joke. He was an Ir v'Kadish. An Ir, Ayin Yud Resh, doesn't just mean city, it means an angel. And the Kaddish is a holy one. He was an Ir v'Kadish that came down from heaven to give us the Kabbalah in Tzfat in the 16th century, late 15th century. And in his 36 years, he managed to change the world, change Jewish thought. Practically all Kabbalah goes back to the Arizal. And today, so the Hasidic masters they're basically explaining for the common man, even the not so common man. It's not just like, oh, beyond that, I'm not a common man, so I don't need Hasidus. I'll go straight for the Arizal. No, it's not like that. So Arizal, Yerva Kaddish, he came to reveal something. So he uses a phrase, Mi b'sariyach hazelka. From my flesh I shall see God. He says that several times in his major work, the Eitz Chaim. What does it mean by that? It means that you learn about how God creates the world, how a man and woman creates a child. You learn about different stages of development. After it's just the zivug, and then there's the pregnancy, and then there's the birth, and then there's intellectual development until the bar mitzvah age, etc., etc. The family dynamic. That's the family. From my flesh I'll see God, and from the people we see how people interact, and that's a hint, biologically and otherwise, sociologically perhaps, that's a hint at how God runs the world, because we can only look at the world, we can't look at God. And God created the world, and he puts his fingerprint on the creation. So, you only know it's an innovation, it's a chidush for him to say that, because you have to look back in Job. It's mentioned in Job, from my flesh I shall see God, because while I'm still in a body I cannot see God. When worms eat my flesh, then I'll know the meaning of life. That's the context of the verse. And then Arizal takes it out of context and says, that's not just like I'll see God when I'm dead. It's like I can see God when I'm alive. Not see, but have some kind of apprehension of the Creator from the creation. It says, Koach HaPoel Benifal. Rabbi Simcha Buno Pshischa, the great Hasidic master of Pshischa in Poland in the 19th century. He says, He was the one great Hasidic Rebbe who was actually a businessman. Nowadays, a lot of Rebbes are businessmen. A little too much. But anyhow, but he was the real deal. He was a real Hasidic Rebbe, meaning he lived the life of the Hasidic masters. He did above and beyond what was required of him by the law, and that's a Chassid who goes beyond does more than the law requires as a Chassid. He also filled with the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov about how to serve God with joy and how to serve God with depth and how to serve God. He was the first one who took on the leadership of the Pshischa from the Yehudi of Pshischa, the holy Jew of Pshischa, who taught that you don't just learn, you don't just daven, you learn and you daven. You learn like a Litvak, you learn like in the depths of the Gemara in the intellectual way, and you daven like a Chassid. He davened his brains out, the Yehudi, and he passed away. Simcha Buna of Pshischa continued, and he was the first one. You say you go the Simcha Buna of Pshischa, based on the teachings of his master, the Yehudi of Pshischa, the holy Yehudi, says, be authentic. Don't walk and talk like the Rebbe. Don't be an automaton. Like Mao Zedong and everybody wears the little caps and the little red mind control books. I'm not going to. I want to disparage other Jewish. Okay, let's face it, Hasidic groups and even some Lithuanian groups where yes, the Talmud mentions how certain scholars, certain great Chachamim in Babylon, their students would act and dress and act like their master. It was their way. They taught them how to act. But that every Lubavitcher Chassid gets the exact same glasses and the exact same etrog and drinks the exact same vodka that the Rebbe drank. That's okay. It's nice. It's nostalgic, but it's not pshisk. That's for sure. Pshiska, you be yourself. You would learn. In other words, let's say in Pshiska is the only base medrash they'd learn Likuti Moran and the Moreh Nevuchim. Likuti Moran is a simple faith. Rabbi Nachman, it's a tremendous. Give the simple. He jumps from the pshat up to the sod, back to the pshat. He quotes the Bible and the Talmud and the Halacha simply, and then he'll go up to the Kabbala and the deepest depths, and he'll connect it back down, and then he'll go back down to the simple meaning. But Breslovs are people of simple faith. It's not about chakirot. It's not about philosophy and fancy philosophy. That's Rabbi Nachman said. It's like making a huge building. It's founded on nothing. What are the foundations of that philosophy? Are they moral? Do they have any connection to how we behave in the world? Okay, that's is it founded on strange beliefs like Palestinian shepherd boy that created the world, or is it a theology like that, or is it philosophy of sophistry where it's just you can argue after anything? First postmodern expression of philosophy was apparently a sophistry. If sophistry is you can argue according to logic that I am upside down right now,